Well, the federal government says it has removed subsidy on kerosene. Now, this comes just as the debate over fuel subsidy is going on. Mr. Ken Abazi is the chairman of the downstream group at the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, as he joins us on the program. Welcome, Mr. Abazi.
Thank you, Bolaji.
Thank you so much for coming on the program. What do you make of this removal of the subsidy?
Well, we believe it's a good one. It's a bold step we've been expecting in this country, because we believe we need to deregularize these products. We need to remove this subsidy, because subsidy in itself have not been managed well. And the effect of the subsidy have not been fed by the people. So we believe it's a good step taken by the government.
A good step. Okay, of course, you would agree with me that there's been some kind of argument that is a way to plug the hole that has been, occasioned by corruption. And do you think that would address it, apart from the fact that it's been removed? It's a good step. Does it address the issue of corruption that has always been a major problem for the government?
That is where I have the concern, because why we say it's a good one, we have a reservation also. The government have not come out to tell us clearly, this is what we want to do, the savings. Nigerian government have been spending about 400 billion annually to subsidize kerosene. So we believe there will be a lot of savings for this country. But we have not come out to tell us how the program they have to use this money, how to articulate where they're investing these savings Nigerians are going to make from this money. You just wake up one day and subsidy on kerosene is removed. And so what happens to the people?
We've talked about capital investment.
Yes.
There's been the talk about the fact that we need to get funds to, drive our budget.
Yes.
So perhaps some of those monies will be diverted to, handle the capital project that the country has.
I agree. We need to save money. We need to plug the holes. We need to have money to invest. But you have to agree with me also that 97% of Nigerians are dependent on kerosene and firewood to generate their domestic energy. Now you are increasing the cost of kerosene by over 66% overnight, and the government have not come out to tell us this and this will be done to be able to manage the effect of this. Why we want to save this money, I agree, but have we gone, because if you have a good strategy and it's not managed or executed well, it's worse than a bad strategy that is managed well. So we are concerned about the execution. We are concerned about how we're going to manage the effects of this removal. What I say is a good one.
Okay, let's talk about the price a little bit. Instead of the regulated price of 50, the pump price of 50 naira per litre, the product will now sell for 83 naira, according to the latest pricing template for the household kerosene released by the Petroleum Products Pricing Regulatory Agency.
Yes.
Now, does this price represent the market value of the product?
Now, you can't separate the price and the availability of these products. Government has said they will sell 83 naira at their own retail outlets. Now, you step back and ask yourself, how many of these retail outlets does the government have? So the market price as you are getting, even when it was subsidized at 50 naira, people were still getting at 150, 160. Now, government says their own retail outlets will sell at 83 naira. And the private people who are going to bring in this kerosene are going to source this money. They're not going to get it at the same price, the forest. And so you can imagine that at the street, at the independent marketers, the price of kerosene will be much higher than what it was before. It's been speculated to get up to 200 naira per litre.
But wouldn't there be some kind of regulation in terms of having the same amount being sold by all the marketers in that
well, it's to be expected. So let them come out with the program. That's what we're saying. Let there be a program on how to make sure if we succeed in getting kerosene sold by everyone at 83 naira, that would be a good thing for everybody. But if, because the retail outlets by NNPC are not adequate, the volume are not going to be adequate, assessing this product will make it very difficult for other people to, and there will be scarcity and the price will still go up. And that's the fears we have in the SCCI.
Earlier on, you mentioned the issue of firewood and kerosene, and one would think about the health hazards when you talk about firewood. And there's been this issue of us moving away from kerosene to gas.
Exactly.
Use of gas. Do you think that perhaps this could be the time for everyone, for the government, to help Nigerians to move away from the use of kerosene and reduce the health implication of firewood?
That is what we think the government should do. Because over the years, in the last 5 years, Nigerians have spent 1.5 trillion naira on subsidy of kerosene. And we have said we need to switch from this biomass that are unhealthy to use of LPG. As we speak now, Nigeria has the highest reserve of gas in the whole Africa. And yet, per capita usage of LPG in Africa, Nigeria is the lowest, 1.1. You can imagine Ghana at 5 and Morocco at 50. And we are at 1.1, and we have the highest reserve of LPG. So we expected that government removal of kerosene, we are going to invest a lot of money on the switch to a cleaner source of domestic energy, which is LPG. And it doesn't take up to 400 billion naira to execute this program. We have Indonesia, we have what they did in Thailand, we have what they did in Singapore that have successfully switched from this biomass to use of LPG. And we say we have the capacity to do that. But removing subsidy on kerosene, nobody has told us where you want them to switch to.
There's been a lot of noise about switching to gas.
Yes.
Before now, even before this removal.
Yes.
Now, do you think that the government would have what it takes,
The
resources
yes.
to switch, to make people begin to go into gas? Because you talked about having to encourage people.
Yes.
Now, the government needs money. It's trying to move away from even oil in terms of revenue generation to non-oil.
Yes.
Do you think as a body for LCCI, can you push for this?
We as a body have been advocating for this switch. And we expected that if the government had this plan to switch, then there should be a plan to move people systematically over a 5-year program, to move them from region to the use of LPG. Because we have it available, we have the terminals, we have LNG ready to give us gas. And then I know of some concerns, some companies that are already building LPG cylinders in the country. So there must be an articulated program to move people. But having brought subsidy removal and there's no program at all, we're not moving to LPG.
Perhaps
we are likely to move back to firewood.
Perhaps the government is making the program, designing it, and to be announced very shortly.
Be desirable.
Very shortly. Thank you so much, Mr. Ken
Thank
Abazi is the chairman of the LCCI Downstream Group, talking about the removal of kerosene, the subsidy on kerosene, and what alternative Nigerians should pursue. After the break, we'll be discussing the latest from the commodities market. Please stay with us.